Beloved star, welcome, very warm welcome to our Immortal Starlight Pod episode 49. And this one, chapter 7 of the Silver Wheel, which is the wisdom of the waters and of the realms of the West. So this one, as I share, is such a beautiful mirror for the energies right now. And I don't know about you, but I feel within myself part of the energy of the now is a great vanishing, a great leaving of the spiral of energy, the spiral of self, of all that I've seeded here through the last wave. My energy is really retreating from this world and moving to a space beyond, where I really come back to myself, to my pure energy and codes, and receive those pure source instructions from the realms of who I am. Really, that deep source alignment once more. And so the sense of potential connection in purity to the self feels so strong, so potent, so powerful right now. And with that, I can feel the old cycles. This is how I feel with the realms of the West. The realm of the waters is also the realm into which, at the end of the last great age of light, that the Shining Ones disappeared, the Elven and Elder kin, carrying many treasures, dimensional connections of this earth in her greater body of light and being, until another great coming of a cycle of light, when those dimensions and treasures could return and reseed, reconnect, come into reunion with this world once more. So for myself, certainly the journey of this lifetime has been as one prone to depression, to the energy of my place of imbalance can be to be very high, very ecstatic, and then to get very depressed, to move in, have a polarity of experience in that way. And while that has largely phased out, what I notice is I can see where the point of that spiral can set off again. And that when I feel like not engaging, and it just starts very subtly with perhaps a difficult emotional experience or something occurring that I don't want to be present to. And it can seem like a small decision in that moment, but it sets in chain a sequence of moving away from this world and of moving out of my body and moving out of relationship, out of connection to the people around me. And that usually is where it begins, and it feels very comforting. But now I know from observing myself that where it ends is then when that experience of depression strikes, which is such a change of lens. It's like the world goes grey, everything goes grey, one has no energy, and everything changes. It's such a complete state. But what I realize for me now is it's not unpredictable, that there is a sequence of choices that land me there. And there are moments where if I choose differently, I can prevent the setting off of that cycle of that deeper depression and not need to go through that. So that energy of vanishing is very interesting. So I watch that in myself and I walk tenderly with that when I feel that it's become a very deep choice point to really be here and to be present, just to show up deeply and completely for life and to that which I am called to. And even if it means there are moments that are so powerful, they sound so simple, they're so small in a way, but choosing to put on my running things and go for a run, even after perhaps I've got upset about something and I'm worried about something, and choosing when normally that makes me want to curl up into a really warm, safe space and withdraw, to choose to put on my running things, go out and stay engaged with the greater dreaming of my body and my being. And for me, running is part of that expression, really awakens my elder body of light and my inner dreaming and strength upon this earth. So yeah, catching those small moments. So it's the vanishing that I feel that I am honoring at this level of the spiral is quite different to that. It's to stay engaged with what I'm called to, but to honor that there are layers within my being that are very much cycling into that deep space of dwelling within the mystery of self, returning to my homeworld. That there is, yeah, a part of me that is withdrawing and going back into the light of that which I am, so that I can really receive the new codes, the awareness of all that I bring through for the next cycle of ascension, which will be seeded through this solstice to come, December 21st. So yeah, through this passage, I'm really, really watching that differential and staying really, really aware. So there is a spirit of, yeah, of a tender enjoying of the spaces where I really need to retreat into the zone of my own energy. But yeah, watching that that isn't that cycle of actually disengaging in a way that brings a deep unwellness and unhappiness. So I hope that's helpful. You may, face that kind of dynamic within your being, or you may be quite different. But yeah, the seventh teaching very, very much speaks to this legend within our being, which I believe, as I've shared with my own story, it still plays itself out with an experience within any moment here when I can choose to give up on this world, as it were, to leave, to take my light from this world, or whether I choose to keep gifting that. But the seventh teaching is so beautiful because it speaks of that deep legend within our being at a greater level in the cycles of light, where those parts of ourselves truly did separate from this world, and for very deep reasons, and much of which actually involved keeping those parts very, very safe or intact. It was simply a neutral vibrational divergence, if you like, of worlds. But yeah, that with this, we also remember that as we come back into a cycle of reunion with those worlds coming together once more, that with that, as I say, there is still a pulse where now, yes, we gift our light, we return, we bring this higher dimensionality of ourselves, of our starlight, of our celestial starlight soul into this world. But that we remember that doesn't mean you have to be like a sun permanently switched on, a lamp that never is allowed to withdraw into its own sphere of innermost radiance. And I believe for those of us gentle souls and spirits called to shine, called to give our gifts as we are, that to re-find within the invitation to this solar self, gifting, being present, to find the balance with that inner state of luminosity, of going into that realm to which you belong, of disappearing, if you like, the balance, because as this speaks of, this is the wisdom of the waters, which is of this chapter. It is the wisdom of giving and receiving, that even within this light of the dawn in which we understand that we are lighting up, we are giving our light, we are becoming visible, that there is still a place and a dance for that deep receiving of going into the dimensions that we belong to and receiving, disappearing from this world, as it were, receiving, drinking in deeply. And in such a way, the balance is maintained, just as with the waters, the balance, the flow is maintained. So if, like me, it's still a dance of learning to deeply and completely trust yourself, that you can do both, that it's safe, that we have the capacity of this movement back and forth from this world, and that it is a movement we can sustain, that we won't get stuck in either one side or the other, that we can now maintain this beautiful movement back and forth in the dimensionality of self upon this earth for the dawn. So, sharing a bit longer than I meant to this morning before reading the chapter, but I was feeling to share that with you before I began, because even coming to this pod recording has been a real challenge for me today and this week. It was like the part of me that just wanted to float in my own space and stay invisible. And yeah, but I have a deeper promise that I've made, which is to share these chapters and whenever anyone comes to them, whether it's right now or whether it's just coming through the YouTube channel one day, someone is able to find it, and that's the moment for them that it's of enormous value to hear this part of the silver wheel. But I know that I've made a promise in my soul, I can feel it in my innermost light, to follow through, to share these chapters a week at a time, and to gift this. And so I'm honoring that deeper promise that comes from within my soul star. And so I know that this sharing, involves being something of a solar self, becoming visible in a moment when I don't feel especially like doing so, that I am fulfilling a deeper promise of my light. And that just feels so aligned, so right. So yeah, and I think there was one last thing I wanted to share with that. I realized something stupendously magical, which, if it works out, we'll see. So the seventh teaching I share this week for the 49th podcast, which means that because I've already recorded chapters 11, 12, and 13, that means after this one, bear with me, there's a lot of numbers here, that there will be 3 more chapters to read, which will be pods. Now, she's not the strongest at numbers, but here we go. Pods 50. Chapter 8 will be pod 50. Chapter 9 will be pod 51. And chapter 10 will be pod 52, which will be the first complete year of Elven Immortal Starlight pods. And so literally the silver wheel will be completed into this space, will be available to be listened to and watched exactly as the year completes in terms of that 52-week rhythm. And yeah, so I couldn't believe the synchronicity. I have in no way planned that consciously. So super delighted to realize that. But I will also be super delighted to move back into a flow of the Immortal Starlight pods, of sharing the current ascension energy, of sharing the current realm remembrance through the Elven dimensionality, as I have shared through the early pods. I'm really looking forward to returning into those golden light flows. But in this phase, I fulfill the vow to interweave the silver light of the silver wheel through the elven pod, that it's part of its foundations and always here for anyone who wants to find it and to find its light and its keys. So, she's gonna wear herself out talking before I even read the book. Let me shift now and read to you this beautiful chapter. So, just becoming comfortable in whatever way for you, whatever you're doing right now, letting these words flow through you, resonate where they do, ripple through. They are so activational also. So, this is the 7th teaching of the Deerskin Book. Here we go, the Deerskin Book. For those, maybe this is the first time you've met it, here it is. Silver Wheel, the Lost Teachings of the Deerskin Book. The water is a mirror of the heart, and the love which needs to be given without restraint, but also received and accepted deeply and fully. This love needs never to be still, but always flowing, always being passed on, one to another. This is how the great lakes remain clear and full. There's a beautiful glyph there for those watching on YouTube. Chapter 7, Cross-legged at prayer of autumn, cloud-eyed dances haunt the forest. All that is lost falls away. Cloud and Jay, the kingfisher. The 7th teaching of the Deerskin Book involves the vision of the Moonstone Lake and a very ancient feminine energy. Within all of us is the memory and the archetype of the Lady of the Lake, and she who is guardian of the waters, who preserves our ancient fairy lineage and our connection to the mysteries of the land. The Moonstone Lake is her domain. It is the pure manifestation of the essence of love, of the heart. It symbolizes and mirrors the truth that love needs always to be given and received. always to be flowing from one to another. We must be prepared to give, and we must be prepared to receive deeply. It is a deep truth of our human nature that this exchange, this communion, takes place through the heart. Many thousands of years ago, the mists descended over Avalon. The waters became veiled, and only a chosen few could find their way through. The realm of the lady began to withdraw and vanish from communion with this world. She took her people via the ancient pathways to the realm of the evening star. The shining ones thus departed into the west and crossed over into another dimension. They vanished across the mysterious moonstone waters in which loveliness is reflected, taking their gifts with them. In the palace of the evening star is held the secret, vanished wisdom of the water realm. This is where the long-lost barges travelled, the elders who left for another dimension, until the call of the new earth should come to summon them back. There they remained until the lost alliances should be reforged and the interdimensional waters be reawoken, so that these higher frequencies of love could flower here once more, interwoven with the physical realm. The lady has held these secret ciphers, these stored capsules of interdimensional wonder. The realms of water truly are multidimensional. The way that water is encoded to teach us of the universe beyond. It is a travelling element by which we may cross over and access interdimensional healing. The waters link especially to the temples of the evening star, where still there are encoded teachings to be received, interdimensional wisdom that is ours but almost forgotten. These Elven Lemurian beings are returning to the earth, incarnating here in the present. They are preparing to step through, to be present upon the earth once more and share their wisdom with us. Theirs is the interdimensional starlight of the rose ray. They are the peacekeepers who understand the enchantment and rapture of peace. It is time, and the Lady of the Lake is bringing her treasured gifts back to the earth. She steps through the ancient portal, a diadem at her brow, in robes of shifting moonstone, a flowing iridescence as intangible as mist. She brings us the enchantment of the feminine heart, of imagination, of peace and beauty. She opens the elven portal of the waters, a shimmering and mysterious doorway. These palaces of the evening star are accessible via the moonstone waters of the heart. Here we shall rediscover our true gentleness towards ourselves, the elusive capacity to love the self. A peaceful heart is one that has opened its interdimensional realms and walks these timeless corridors, manifesting impossible gentleness and integrity, bringing forth its gifts and treasures to delight and bring happiness to all. This part of us is forever pure and uncontaminated, even if we lose awareness of its presence. It resides beyond the veils of phenomenal reality, drawing its essence from pure heavens and enchanted lands, It belongs to the hour before the division of one world from another. Before the veil between the worlds fell, it is the pivot around which everything else flows. There is no end to how much suffering this essence can witness and remain whole. It is our most gentle and our most powerful aspect. If we try to destroy this, it only vanishes as radiant lights under our fingertips, immortal and evanescent, without attachment to anything but the purity of its own manifestation. It is time to meet with its stillness, to enter into the moonstone lake of our own hearts, surrender to the evanescent purity of ourselves. We ourselves are this vanishing presence, this mysteriousness. This is the time when you become translucent, transparent to the light, when your identification shifts, and you know that yours is the moonstone lake of the heart. Yours is its stillness and its purity. This is the non-existence of which the sages speak, this mysterious and infinite abundance of the heart. When shall the hour come that the heart steadies into the beauty of its own stillness altogether? How do you make the miraculous and quantum leap into true self-belief? How do you give yourself the gift of love that never wavers, never alters, never disappears? You want to believe in this most elusive treasure hunt. You want to stop this swinging between worlds, between euphoric connection and baffling confusion. This dream that the heart might still to its own infinity and become unbroken on the tides of suffering. How we long for the crystalline waters of the heart to compose themselves around infinity and to sway no longer from one world to the other. This can indeed happen. Yes, its pathway is perhaps more mysterious than expected. Take up this body you have been given and know it for what it is. It is a fluid and magical transformative ground to existence in this dimension. Do not view it as separate from your spirituality, for it is through this abandoned gift that you shall discover the vibrational pathways of true existence. It is your sounding device, your echo chamber of infinite vibrational worlds and realms. Unloved, it remains tuned to only one setting, receiving the signals of fear and flight, programmed into desperation, loneliness, and anxiety. It wanders lost and lonely, uninhabited, yet this is the ultimate gift you have chosen, that you have given to yourself, and you ignore it. This magical echo chamber of unawakened codes is the target of the golden dawn and all its patterns of release that are permeating the fabric of reality. Let it in. Allow it to release and activate you. Allow the codes to touch your loneliness, your unawakened skin. Allow them to touch your sleeping, dormant self. Your secret self is shimmering with a golden light that is caressing it, encouraging it to dream the miraculous. This is the secret chamber of your body's soul. It looks up, startled. It is so long used to its slumbers, its unrecognized nature. It sees the light of the golden dawn stealing quietly through, and realizes that it is no longer alone, that there is another presence in the darkness. This presence touches it with soft fingers, gently stroking the unremembered darkness. You are the secret one who has been so long imprisoned. You have thought yourself unworthy of such beauty, such compassion. Gentle as dust it settles upon every cell of your loneliness. It is the light of the rising sun of the dawn that you thought would never come. It is the light that you thought would never touch your loneliness, so long it has gone on. This is the golden love that sets the secret self free, that loves you so deeply and truly for exactly who you are, and asks nothing more. This is the teaching of the mysteries of the heart. It has been said already, the heart is the precious jewel around which all else is woven. We trust the heart. We trust the extraordinary capacity of love, and all the lost dimensions, all other worlds encircle this inner realm, this pure heart. It has been said the heart must receive even as it gives. From where does the heart receive? From where does the heart draw its warmth, its inspiration, its sustenance? We all know the feeling when the heart has given all it has to give, when we feel the well has run dry. We feel drained and we need regeneration, nourishment. How does the heart receive these incoming star frequencies, this aerial and ethereal realm of descending starlight? In truth, it is not from this realm that the heart draws its deepest nourishment. The heart must turn inward, to the secret depths. It must go within to hidden realms. It must fall into its own twilight and dance in this subtle-hued realm to find once again its animating vision. There is a deep and far-away purity within the heart. It is an innermost shrine which we can approach when we let go of all else and travel into the most private realms of our own being. For all that the Deerskin Book speaks of radiance, of stepping forth into the light, of the clarity of crystalline dimensions, there is this also, the gentle retirement of the soul into its quiet realms. We do not have to wear our heart on our sleeve forever, to be facing outward in crystalline transparency. There are some things that can never be fully shared or fully revealed. They exist as glimpses, as twilight, as ephemeral transience, and the passage of one world to another. There is evanescence, half disclosure, a hint, a leaf that falls through the air, making its ineffable descent. There is that which cannot be spoken, that which dwells dormant and mysterious in the heart. This is an essential quality to our existence. We need these deep and ineffable waters of the well, their mystery and intangible purity. The mystery is not to be solved. It is here to sustain us, to underlie all that comes to the light and shines. The legends tell us that long ago pure maidens and priestesses guarded the waters of the well. They offered sanctuary and refreshment to weary travellers, healing and wisdom to those who asked. Their role was held as sacred, and they were protected by kings and soldiers. But there came a time when this contract was broken. The maidens of the wells were raped and murdered, and the wells desecrated. The consensual reality had altered. With this arrival of the golden dawn, we are finding once again the courage to honor the mysterious, flowing waters of our existence. Instead of trying to erase the twilight, the mysterious and indeterminate, we honor it as an essential aspect of our humanity. We dance with the ancient feminine mystery of the waters. We accept the transient, the inchoate, the momentary. The golden dawn is not a spotlight that shall cast everything into brilliant crystalline clarity. We are learning a deeper grace than this. We are learning to accept our transience, our mortality, our imperfection. This is part of the miracle of what we have become. This is the wisdom of loving the moment just as it is. It is all here in this one mysterious, perfect, unfinished moment. This is it, with all its veils, its still to become potentials. This is one of the most divine qualities of existence. This forever incipience, this forever falling away of the ineffable leaves. We do not have to raise and raid the depths. We do not have to bring every unspoken reality to light. We need this substrate, this flowing and swirling dimension where one thing becomes another, where identity is never fully formed. Silver Wheel speaks of a time when we allow other realities to shimmer in and out of perception. We allow for the diaphanous subtlety of reality. We surrender the belief that there is one fixed truth, one fixed paradigm. We stop trying to pin down reality, and we allow for its amorphous tendency, its shape-shifting appearance. We allow reality to become mysterious again, and allow for its emergent epiphanies to touch us. It is from this that the heart receives its most profound nourishment, its deepest peace and inspiration. We do not press for resolution, for clarity, for crystallization. Allow for the shimmering, intangible qualities of existence. Allow for a state of incompletion, and know that this is part of the mystery of perfection. It takes evolved poise to take this stance. It takes courage and dignity to embrace this ephemeral quality, this flow and movement within the fabric of perception. This is a distinctly Lemurian wisdom. The Lemurians did not hold one physical form only. They altered and flowed with shifting vibrational resonance from one form to another. With this arrival of the golden dawn, the boundary between one thing and another is once again becoming more subtle and less clearly defined. This happens between people as empathic resonance, and also between ourselves and the elemental realm. There is an increasingly mystical quality to existence as we find ourselves able to become the pine tree, the eagle, the rock, the bear. We become for one brief and exquisite moment the turning of the yellow leaf through the air. Our point of perception is not so fixed, but has a pure fluidity that enables us to experience the mysterious oneness at the heart of life. This is a very precious perspective. It could be seen as a loss of clarity and a source of vulnerability. It in fact derives from a deepening clarity, from a profound purity of heart. If we allow for this naturally flowing and mysterious quality of existence, we discover something most paradoxical, that it is from this that the greatest clarities arise. The indeterminate realm of water is entirely crystalline, It is formed of crystal structures of perfect geometrical coherence. It is thus that a life founded in mystery is a life of most perfect and divine coherence. It is the ancient grace of living this paradox that is the great gift of the heart. The heart understands this. It navigates the mysterious and amorphous moment, and in its acceptance receives the gift of illumination and divine direction. Thus does otherworldly loveliness permeate our world once more. Thus can we allow ourselves to rest in the mystery of these interwoven worlds. We do not need an explanation or a map for the present moment. We allow ourselves to articulate the subtlety of experience without needing to pin it into final definition or create ultimate truths. This is the subtle art of truth's expression. And so we pass into the otherworldly beauty of the Elven realm. The Elven elders are summoning you to the Evening Star Temple on Earth. It contains the lost wisdom of Lemuria. It is a great temple of driftwood and mother of pearl, a triad of great spiraling arcs that rise and taper into an unbound pyramidal form, a floor of polished abalone, a mosaic inlaid with sapphires and lapis lazuli. It is the temple of the evening star, and it is offering its precious portal to the worlds of earth, so that we might have passage once more into these realms of wisdom. Laid down at the center of the mosaic floor is a great sphere of rose quartz, in whose depths many lights and forms shift. Here is one of the temples of the peaceful ones, the Elven elders. Their brilliant ethereal forms belong to land, ocean, and star. They arise and vanish amongst the seals, taking on their sealskin mantles and discarding them to dance at the shoreline between worlds. Through the rose quartz sphere they come and go from this world. You press your hands to the surface of the rose quartz, and you feel your heart begin to glow once more with the purity of the moonstone waters. Know that the lost dreams of your heart are becoming found. You are awakening to the immanence of your dreams, to a graceful world where deep gratitude pours forth from your heart for the miraculous nature of your existence. A world where dreams walk the earth beside you, keeping pace with your step. It is time to move beyond nostalgia and regret for a world of vanished loveliness. Those worlds of vanished loveliness are seeking us. The elven ones are returning from the west. All that you long for, the beauty of that vanished evening star realm, is that which you carry. It is yours to offer, it is yours to weave into the worlds of earth once more. Be that extraordinary gentleness, that unlikely beauty. Bring the vanished realm of love into this world and end the cycle of disappearance. By allowing yourself to recover lost treasure, you come into a wealth that can be shared with all. You come into the domain of love, which understands the sacred transmissions that occur as part of the true fabric of reality. You are restored to ancient pearlescent presence and knowledge of your own mysterious loveliness. The heart is restored as an interdimensional portal in order for you to participate in the flow of love. You trust your capacity to give. This is the immortal flow of the gift, the way that love in stillness never stops moving. We give this gift of love to ourselves first, before others. Otherwise, all our love, all our admiration and kindness, all our generosity is eroded by a primeval doubt we hold about the true goodness or divinity of our own nature. When we give ourselves this most extraordinary gift, the ancient pearl of the heart, then we dissolve the distinction between ourselves and this ancient and beautiful feminine planet we inhabit. We open to the mysteries of the earth. We feel her power and physical, spiritual presence. We come into resonance with the mysterious field of elements that we inhabit with their swirling and self-sustaining journeys. We feel with her. This material creation is no longer something we have to guess at with our sciences only, but something we have the sentience to witness for ourselves. This is why the teaching of the waters is the pivot and the center, why the heart is our precious jewel from which all else flows. This is the arena of the swan who unites the waters with the air, linking these disparate realms with her primordial and pure flight. This is the wisdom of forgiveness. We forgive because we perceive the neutral and primal forces that underlie suffering. We know that they have no ultimate reality, that they are a passing constellation, a pattern in the night. This is the gift of the heavenly witness of angelic forgiveness. The frequencies falling to earth at this time are forming such a gigantic field of forgiveness. We are enfolded in the wings of the swan. This mighty compassion is everywhere. It is all around and within us. It is the potential for us to let go of everything that holds us back. It is twilight and autumn. Raindrops fall onto the waters of the lake. I sit beside the waters. The evening star appears in a sky that is stealing into deeper and deeper blues. The lake is becoming an inscrutable and opaque surface. I feel the transformation coming over me. There is a deep tingling as the very cells of my body shift and the change occurs. I am transforming into a swan. I cast off onto the lake, gliding between the reeds, the willows and alders. The evening star shines above, and a faint rain falls upon my feathers, breaking the still surface of the lake. I raise my wings to beat off the raindrops. They rise in arches at my sides. I can hear the delicate ringing frequencies of water and sky, coordinates of sound beneath ordinary hearing. I cruise the perimeters of the lake, drawn further and further across the watery landscape that is stealing into invisibility beneath the darkening sky. I tuck my wings into my sides and gaze out from the oblique slant of my vision, my neck coiled. Towards me, out of the darkness and the fading scenery, comes a phalanx of swans. In formation, they glide towards me. They surround me, and they are a formidable presence. We stare one another down for long moments, and then they begin to glide forward. It is as though they are herding me, and I am caught into their ranks. They progress along the lake to the mouth of the river, and they begin to travel up it. There is a compelling intensity about the presence of the swans, whose intention I cannot discern. We travel on and on, up the night river. It becomes ever narrower, and the hills rise up on either side of the river valley. Then I begin to catch the distant sounds of a waterfall. It becomes increasingly a roar in the silent night. There is the intangible sense of the waterfall's power, invisible as it is in the darkness. The river is curving between shallows of rocks and deep pools of rushing waters, and we proceed with care, pushing our way against the flow. In some places our progress is slow as we push against the swirling river with webbed feet. Suddenly, the waterfall becomes visible where it falls amongst shadowy pines, catching the ghost light of a waning crescent moon. The other swans disembark from the river, and I scramble up the bank behind them. At the shore, we each undergo a transformation. We are 13 figures, standing tall and clad in our swan feather cloaks. We stand for a moment in a circle of quiet magnificence. Then the 12 walk ahead of me up the forest trail that winds along the river bank. The path snakes over boulders and down sudden dips. I pay careful attention to my footing as I follow the procession. We arrive beside the waterfall, its spray leaving a fine mist on our faces. One by one, the swan elders climb down to the pool into which the waters tumble. I follow them, lifting my skirts high, my cloak trailing behind me. One by one, we take our turn to stand beneath the falls and be doused by the chill waters. On the slippery pebbles of the amber pool, barefoot, cloaks beaded with the spray of the waterfall, we stand elbow to elbow in a circle. Our cloaks billow out behind us, and their feathers begin to bind together, weaving into a shield all around us. Within it is a dome, dark as the feathers block out the pale moonlight. We sing a shimmering moonstone song pouring from our hearts. We sing of the fey and the fell, of old dawns and an older purity. We sing into the roar of the waterfall, so that the song vanishes, vibrating into its din. Only we can feel its ecstasies within our bodies, its evocation of an old land of enchantment. And the feathers weave together, and we are enshrined within the swan dome of our feathered cloaks. The feathers weave beneath us, over the pool of amber. We regard one another, eyes flashing in the darkness. The feathers keep weaving until we are sitting upon a floor of swan feathers enclosed from the waters beneath. It is the Lemurian dome of the swan, in which the swans descended to earth. When the swan feather cloaks of the elders are brought together, it is reconstructed. This is the gift of the swan, to hold the balance of grace between the waters and the sky, to evoke an improbable and pure beauty. Between us, at the centre of the feathered dome, begins to glow a starlight brightness. I know that we are singing the song of the evening star. In the indigo depths of the dome, beneath the waterfall, the evening star blossoms its old light. We are doused in its radiance. We keep singing, and our song is the song of all our yesterdays, of the worlds from which we are born and risen, of all the ways that we have come. I see the procession of ourselves, the long journey across aeons, the preservation of wisdom and truth through all realms. We are encompassed in the deep brilliance of the star. In the heart of this brilliance, I perceive a form emerging. Something is descending from the realm of the evening star to this world. We have opened a portal between worlds. It is the Deerskin Book. As we gaze upon it, lost in the stillness into which our song has drawn us, the pages turn themselves, revealing the gold and silver inks of the inscription. This has been where the Deerskin Book has been held through these long ages, carried into the realm of the evening star shining in the west. It is bequeathed into the keeping of the Swan Elders. I shall speak of this, it is time. It is an elemental inscription of transience, one of the languages of the soul. These are the teachings of the Deerskin Book, caught in the gold and silver inks of another language. It has the look of something worn and loved, powerful and precious. Many hands have rubbed and darkened the deerskin binding, which still has the appearance of whiteness nonetheless. It is the inheritance of successions of old ones, elders, shamans. It carries the inscriptions of the Shining Ones. It is written in their language, which is also ours, and yet stands apart. It belongs to the beginning. It is our own primordial wisdom, that which stirs in sun and wind before word or thought. And so the beginning is always with us. The inks of the Deerskin Book exist eternally, no matter what moment in time it vanished from the earth. It appears vivid enough to have the Swan Elders gather in silence, in darkness, singing into the beyond. They are devoted to the traces of these inks, the flashing arc of their inscription. It contains the elemental ceremonies, the 13 moons of sun and star, earth and sky. These are the deer paths, the ephemeral tracks of a wisdom that cannot be misplaced. The pathways are a silver wheel of return. It spins back always and always to ourselves. No matter how wide flung the arc, what trajectory through uncharted forests, every road is the sketching of this mandala, even our faintest listening to the whispers at the edge of the silver circle, the faint echoes bounding back from the outermost rim, are again caught into the dream-making of earth, as written into the wanderings of the deer. They are inscribed in the pages of a book. Hands have held and read these pages, and they have understood. Let me come again to this. The Deerskin Book contains the silver wheel of teachings. It teaches us how to traverse boundaries, how to transform, how to become the elemental traveler. This is not magic, it is existence. Dancers will be called across the threshold. Even in the silence of an empty forest, the shamans will keep appearing and disappearing as ourselves. This offering is made on the wings of our gratitude and trust. This is the grace of the swan. It is this that lays a foundation for the procession of future generations. In the truth of our past, we find the true possibility of a future. We go forward and we go back. All is contained in this moment. We are simultaneously at many points on the spiral. It is precarious, perfect. So beautiful to read and share this chapter, and I feel the deep emotion of it as I read it, as I speak it, and the sense that we are so profoundly walking and within the fulfillment of the prophecy written within the pages of this book of light. Kiana shianara kianara kian, so it is, and so it is, and so it is. Kanara kiana sanara thietian. So much love and blessings of this immortal star pod, and I shall see you next time. Farewell for now.